Hey there folks, and welcome back to another 650 pp tryouts of Grand Tryouts 7. In this tryout I am doing the Corvette C1 1958. So here's the list of parts you can basically put on it, which if I have to say, this car, kind of a legend. I mean, it's one of the first V8s out there. So, I'd say we'll see on that. Like, there's like probably like 1930 V8s probably. You want to go that far? But I would say one of the first most prominent V8s to say. That probably would still be technically a thing in this nowadays. But I will note that this C1 is the 1.5 rendition, because originally for a C1 Corvette of, I would say 1951, because just said the headlights are also different too. The engine is originally a V6, so originally it wasn't a V8. That's the side. That's interesting, but yeah, otherwise 488 horsepower with the V8 version, 458.2 foot-per-pound torque, with a power to weight of 2.43 kilograms PS or something like that. A weight of 2,663 pounds, which is pretty light for a sports car, so that's pretty good. And you know, sports cars can't be light anyways. Now it can have a wide body, of course, so I installed that, and also an engine swap. In case you're curious what it is, it's a C7 Corvette motor. I believe just a regular C7 Corvette motor. Although it says 595 horsepower, so a possibility it could be a TR1 or a race car. But this is what you can do for rims, because they're in the custom levels. You go to 13, where the regulars don't really, you really can't do much with those. You can also do wides and stuff like that. Which I'm not surprised you can't do much with the regular rims, because 1958 rims. You think they were really that customization back then? I'd be surprised. Yeah, you could take the front. You can basically take the maw off the car, which I wouldn't recommend that. That looks tacky without that, yeah. Where the rear is fine, because you don't need that big old bumper. But you also add hood pins, you see here, and then of course a tow hook. And then you can add a roll hoop, which really doesn't do anything besides look wise. So if you want it, you can have it on. If you won't, you don't. I don't know, I guess for the Barbie's car, I guess that's fine, because technically this is a Barbie's car. Because I will note, yeah, you see all Mafia 2 stuff. This is not the Mafia 2 version, sadly. This is technically the Barbie version. But I ain't gonna add Barbie. No. Than that part. Maybe someday as a joke, but not now. I rather do the Mafia 2 style. Which I get it, it's not technically Mafia 2, but you know. Oh yeah, you can also have a tire wall sticker, but for some reason it just says no stickers, so do what you will, I guess, whatever that means basically. But yeah, here's the tuning setup you can do to it, which at 130.317 on T4's Raceway. I'm just gonna say that was a god tier lap, so I'll be surprised I could do that again. But for the stuff you can do I adjust the body height, I adjust the springs a little bit more. I think that's about it. Maybe the compression might have got changed here because I didn't really highlight that. I might have. Ballast, I had a 14, position 32, with the 76 speed, I believe there. I'll come back to it anyways, because I did like make sure I do it twice this time, make it a little bit longer. Yeah, oh, 79. Okay, 79 power instead. But yeah, all racing parts, because none of it didn't really made it better. Oh yeah, 25 acceleration sensitivity, because this car gets a little loose, must say. I will note, even after this, it gets a little narrow, and elevation is a crime to pay. But not gonna swear. But yep, here's the vinyl design if you want the vinyl, because yeah, I kept the vinyl on this one. Or I threw the vinyl on this one. It's not much interest though, so I kind of wonder if I could just go take it off or something. I'm not sure. I always debate if I should keep the vinyls on. But the C1 Corvette is a legend because a lot of reasons, besides being the startup for the Corvette line. I say startup loosely as this is the 1.5 rendition of the Corvette C1. There's two Corvette C1s. You had the V6 OG with the rounded headlights that Mafia 2 has, and you have this one here where it's technically the Barbie car. Because Barbie's pink car is the C1 Corvette. That's it. But yeah, the C1 Corvette as a 650 pp is a monster. A real freaking monster, I gotta say. Now, I will say the trade-off is, of course, it can only do 2 laps of fuel, but it's still pretty good nonetheless at the end of it. Now, as a acceleration turning car, it's kind of just okay. It's nothing too crazy. It's where its raw speed it's gonna be though. So it's not really gonna show a crazy potential here, because I will say the Ferrari's still kind of beat it at the end of it, which I'm not surprised. The Ferrari's gonna, you know, so to say. But to say though, the Corvette did start something, which was basically this. I say he started somewhat. It was kind of there, but I will say the Corvette kind of finalized on that, on the whole sports car phenomenon. Well, I believe the first C1 Corvette was in 1951 or 1953. It's one of those years for the first rendition of the C1 Corvette. This is like the later rendition, just before the C2 showed up, which I believe the C2 showed up around 1963 or less on that. So something like that. Better to say, as a car to drive as a 650 pp build, this car is very insane. Very impressive, I gotta say. For a normal car and not an engine swap car. I will say, with that engine swap of C7, no doubt it could probably hit 700 pp. I will say. As that is a C7 motor. But with the regular motor it has, it's pretty good for its lower tiers and stuff. It's just the only problem is you have no spoiler or air to max whatsoever, so be prepared to have less control when it comes to that C7 motor added to it. No doubt on that. If not, well, no, that's unique in that case. Yeah, I love the speedometer. It's a big all-round speedometer. Got that Mini Cooper speedometer. Because Mini Cooper kind of has a speedometer like that too. Although it's a big old clock looking one. This one's like half in my semicircle. So, and stuff. I'm gonna get in and out for God's sake. But to say though, Corvette is this Corvette is a very special car for its small block 283 motor for V8. It's a very classic motor. In a legend. I don't know if I would say racing legend, because I don't know the race history very much, but I know for a sports car startup, this was a good sports car to start up nowadays. Or speaking of nowadays, you go from sports car C1 to eventually to C6, which then turned around and became a supercar. Sort of. I would say sports super because it's a supercar, but you're selling it still at high qualities, you know. So, although the C8 is a more interesting case because it hits performance of hypercar territory, which is kind of insane. But then again, they put in the right drivetrain, which was MR. Because I will say, eventually, if you're gonna hit a higher performance, you want to want your car to be aligned as an MR. Because MR to me is kind of just better. FR is something though. It's not, you know, super crazy. But I will say FR is a good go-to for probably maintenance work. I would say that's probably the biggest reason I think. And you know, easier. Yeah, that's Corvette C1 going on the lap, which 112.608. That does not beat the Ferrari 308, but it was dang well close. And I'm not surprised though, because acceleration, like I said, it's not its go-to, but it is kind of noticeable. If I have to get the acceleration, it's a 3-star, basically. And then turning, probably 2-star, because it's narrow. It's turning very narrow and stuff, and that such. But now onto the balance track, which, yeah, speaking of that narrow is going to be greatly affected here because Deep Forest Raceway has an elevation check on the roller coaster segment up to near end. So, gotta be watched for that because, like I said, its suspension will give out and turning will become an issue. In fact, it feels locked once going in. So, I tried to increase the ride height, but if you increase it so much, you lose that time performance big time. So, I did as much as I could though. That's the biggest point though. It just still kind of just does it. I probably should, from now on, probably try to target that first as a priority because I've been kind of a bit loose about that. I really shouldn't be because I could just see a casual place this car and have the worst time imaginable because the suspension gets locked. Because you'll notice like a little weird feeling right there on that curve point. Because this car is just not great about uphills and downhills. It has a challenge about that. Then again, the Shelby has the same case too. Which, yeah, considering if I had to compare this car to, I had to compare it to the Shelby, which is like night and day. This car just destroys the Shelby, I'm sorry to say. I know pony cars were a trend, I'm just surprised they were a trend. But then again, maybe the Corvette cost an arm and leg back then. Who knows? But this Corvette just kicks ass. But then again, I also did custom transmission and everything else, so I didn't really check on stock, which I kind of should, you know, try it stock just to compare that to. But you know, it is what it is. I don't know. Maybe I might one day do like a stock tryout to see how a car just handles as a stock car. I will say I'm going to change the tires no matter what because I believe that cars should be compared with the same pair of tires at the end of the day. Because tires define the car a whole different league at the end of the day. It's like if you put sports soft, that other car better be sports soft because if you're not, then I don't really find that as competitive in the same pace. Although I will say, if a sports hard has this much horsepower to a sports soft in terms of turning, then it becomes a different ballgame on that matter. But I mean, by tire wear standards, that's where it's at. That's where I say, yeah, that's a different league now. But yep, 131.382. Because I will say, I had a pain in the ass time for this car to perform a good time. It was really weird because I did that 130.3 yesterday, and for some reason now it doesn't want to do it. So as a result, this is the best I could just toss because otherwise I had to do another run, and I didn't really want to do another run, to be honest. But then again, this shows the car's issues, that it's, you know, it fumbles a lot during steering sometimes. Could I change the ride height to prevent that? Yeah, I could have, but like I said, I was debating to do that because it would affect the performance big time on that matter. I mean, it would get rid of the ride height problems, but if you have the skills to deal with it, then it's not technically a problem to those that have the skill. So at the end of the day, yes, I do consider this car a bit of an intermediate in terms of control factor. You just gotta understand and gentrify the dog where it needs to be, and not be careful about curves a little bit. Sometimes the car just ain't gonna be easy to control, and this is one of those cases, and I'm not surprised because it's 1958 for God's sake. And yeah, there's the time right there, 130.909, but it has the potential to do 130.3. But I will note, destroys the Ferrari on that, because 131.3 was the Ferrari's 308 GT B4, I believe, or something like that it's called. Yeah, it beats that. Now on to Mount Panorama, the speed track for the test. I will note, whenever I get to the AI battles, I'm not using Mount Panorama, so I will mention this here for anyone who ends up watching this and such. And the reason why, because I am going to keep to my guns and keep it to Le Mans on that. I just use Mount Panorama because Mount Panorama is a good case of a mini Le Mans, as it got a lot of curves. Although, if I had the track in a reverse layout, I would do that. I would technically do a full reverse layout on that case. But because, you know, there's no reverse layout for this, which is very odd. I'm surprised there's not a reverse layout for this. I had to do it what feels like the reverse case of Le Mans. In fact, speaking of reverse layout, I'm surprised I haven't done a reverse layout for Le Mans. That'd be kind of interesting on that part. But to say though, this is a great track for the substitute of Le Mans in terms of speed because of this big old straightaway down here. And it's a downhill on top of it. I will note, if you go in reverse, you also have a big old speed straightaway down that way. So technically it's like a little different to Le Mans, but not quite the same, but you know. Because Le Mans has two or three speed straightaways, and then it's all the turning and stuff. This has a speed straight at the beginning, then corners in the middle, and then speed straight at the end. A bigger one. But yeah. To say Corvette C1 being the first sports car is a very good, fun sports car to have. It's just, you probably have to add rigidity. You probably have to understand an intermediate car. This is a very intermediate car in terms of control. And then you have to gentrify your draw at some points. Yeah, not the greatest, but speed-wise though, definitely a 5-star. This thing goes like potentially 190, which is pretty great for this type of class. Or you know what, I take that back, 4-star. 4-star there, because 190 is great, but if you hit that 200 mark, you got a legend on your hands. In the speed. I will note I had to weight reduction it. Because I will say, I did took some notes, and after some thinking, I decided to rate reduction the car if it so happens the fuel eats more than it should. Because I will say, it wasn't doing 2 laps, it was technically doing 1.7 of a lap. But because of the weight reduction, it bumped it to 2 laps, and a little bit less horsepower, because I think it was like 520 or so. So that helped it big time when you do full lean. And when I say full lean, I say 5 lean, because when I did full lean, it actually was saving so much fuel. 5 lean, I think it's where it's at though for Le Mans for 30 laps and stuff. But yeah, I decided to also just toss the whole fuel thing. I didn't want to wait till we get there basically, because yeah, screw it. At this point, it's a very optional that people even watch at this point. And they probably just want to cut straight to the point on top of it. But to say though, the C1 Corvette is a mean car for this class. And I did need an example, and this is that example. I do kind of like the vinyl I did. I will say that it's kind of a work in progress, kind of not. I did posted it, but if you want that, you can have that version. In the future though, I might tweak a bit more to it. This has a bunch of old stuff on it from your old Sprite, which that might be a 90s Sprite. The Dr. Pepper is like 70s. So, and then you got Mafia 2 decal. That the only Mafia 2 decal I've seen, because surprisingly I didn't see a Joe Barbaro. I saw Vita Scaletta though. It just get, then again, the whole vinyl thing, search thing is weird to me. It's hard to find the exactly vinyl you're looking for. So if you're trying to look for old vinyl, sometimes it might not show old, it might show something completely different, like Joe Biden eating ice cream. In that case. Which, yes, he is old, and yes, he just recently got cancer, but, you know, come on. That's not the old I'm referring to. Something classic. I guess I should have punched in classic, in other words. But I punched in old, and I got kind of that, but not surprised. But yeah. And then the other cool thing is you can color the chrome too, I will say, because I know that top's supposed to be chrome, but I colored it white instead. I like that so much better, because it fits with the checker plan. I know about checker in it, but I don't know. I'd like more on that. And then I blackened the sides, because I didn't really care for the chrome that much. Because this car is very chromy, so I just paint over some of the chrome. Give it a bit more of a finesse to it. Is it? Yeah, now onto basically this best lap here, which yeah, onto a semi to final bit of turns here. Yeah, 211.792. That just eats the Ferrari for breakfast, which I'm not surprised as a speed demon. But speaking of speed demon, behold this time here, because this time I feel like I could have done even better. It has the potential to go 210. I'll just say that, but nope, it's right at the nick of 211. 211.070. That tops it at first place for now. But what can it do? It can do the Sunday Cup, of course. What else can it not do? For God's sakes, there. And then the American FR Challenge 550, because this is FR, because Americans know for FR, and oh, yeah, I got using one of the FR cars. And then speaking of America, you can do America Sunday Cup. America. Then the 700. I believe you could do this, but be careful, because that C8 Corvette is a menace. I was thinking it was going to be the turbo sports cars, but now I remember that's I think it has a supercharger, not a turbo. So, because here's the thing about the turbo one, it has to be a turbocharger, not a supercharger. And then, of course, the World Touring Car 700. After figuring out like what's do what, you can do Hypercar Parade, but be careful about the Vulcan. And then historic. Sports cars, if you detune this, probably slap some sports hards, you might be fine for that. For the 580 pp limit. High speed ring, of course you can do that. Tokyo, it's a road car with a National B license, of course you can do that. You could do Trail Mountain Cup, because that is one of the American races. And then you have Pan America as well, but yeah, you can definitely do that for kicks and giggles, chicken waddle down, as I say. And then World Touring Car 700. But overall, the C1 Corvette, I have to say, either rank A or rank S on this one, because this thing is just as crazy as the Ferrari 308. It's hard to say which is better at the end of the day, because even on full lean, this car still moved pretty quick. I would still say the Ferrari's still a tad bit better because of fuel match, but if there's a sprint race involved, it's an S tier on that case. It will annihilate that sprint race in terms of 650 PP stuff. Other than that, it is a phenomenal sports car of a classic genre, and happy it exists. So I might end up driving this for the Corvette event in the future. Who knows? If it's not that slow. I don't. No. Oh wait, yeah, it probably would be. I don't know. I have to see. Yeah, that's basically the Corvette C1 in a nutshell, basically. A fun American car that is a pioneer. And you know, what stands for Chevy, even this nowadays, even though it sounds like Chevy's trying to make an SUV out of a Corvette, which I hope that doesn't happen. But I could see why they're trying to do that, because, oh, look, Mustang did it too! Don't follow it, please don't follow it. I don't even call that Mach-E a Mustang, I call it just the Mach-E. I hate the fact it has a Mustang on that badge. That is called a Mach-E. That is nothing more, nothing less. It should have been just called a Mach and just leave it as that. Because it reminds me of the Mach 3 concept car they did way back. Although that was a car, this is an SUV. And then again, Ford's also doing a Capri, and just what? Just what? I just know they showed that at Goodwood Hill Festival. I think I saw a thing fell off that car during its run. I don't know what it was, but something fell off there. I have no idea what, but yeah. But enough about Ford, we'll talk about Chevy, which, what else to say besides being a fast, cool looking classic of the 1950s that's just about to hit the 60s here for this one, this case. But yeah, with the V8, it probably was much better than its V6 counterpart. But I am hoping that the V6 one appears sooner or later, because that would be a cool one to add. But then again, I saw the data leak. I don't think it's happening anytime soon again. Now, for what I know of, there's supposed to be 100 cars from that data leak apparently. I do say apparently, because it's real. But there is some cool candidates in the future. I just know there's going to be $20 million candidates, like the Alfa Romeo 8C of 1930s or 1950s or something like that. Also, yeah, that horn is freaking sick. I like that horn. I also like the car's engine noise. The engine noise of the C1 Corvette is a little monster, basically. A cool little monster. A radical car. It just has that tough control of the harness. Yeah. Yeah, now looking at the opponents here, I am also impressed how well it caught up to the opponents here, but then again, this is a speed type car. This is a very much speed type car. Than heck, I would say by stats it's like above average, or not above average, but you know, overbalance. It's like a bit more than it should be. There goes the Swift. Because yeah, those two always go in 2 laps in. And again, not surprised. 33 fuel on that C7. I think it was possible you could have, but they don't use the lean at all, so yeah. Oh yeah, it's trying to rain here, but it's only light rain. So it's basically gonna be a normal race of Le Mans. A good normal race, I should say. Instead of a terrible rain race that happened on the Jaguar, which, if you want to see that, go check the Jaguar. Or Jaguar D-Type, specifically. Yeah, that was a crazy moment, too. Yeah, just look at the opponents and stuff. It's like, of course, some of those are going in immediately, because, of course, that BMW M4, I don't know what's with that car, but when I get to that car, it's going to be an interesting case. I do hope I get to that soon, because I'm curious. Because I will say I'm already tuning up grade 4 cars in, what's the other 650. I think all the 650s are already kind of set. It's just a matter of doing them eventually. And then the grade 4s, I have a whole line set of which ones to do. Because I will say, I don't know if people have caught on what I do. And again, there's not really much people watching me yet. Maybe some that they'll understand. Someone will get it. Someday someone will get. But there's gonna be, or how I do tryouts basically, I do one car per region. And when I say region, I mean country, so. But I do one specifically for America, one specifically for Japan, and then one specifically for Europe. And when I say Europe, I mean, like, I think I go from UK to France in their line order, alphabet order, basically. So it'll be UK to probably France, I believe. I told there's a Belgium one. Which, out of the data mine, I don't think that's happening, Captain. I don't think that's happening, but yeah, it's just a very light rain race. This rain's just basically gonna be gone in the next 4 or 8 minutes or so. Yeah. But to also say, I also reduced the laps of doing on this Le Mans race too. I'm just gonna show 3 laps from now on too. On top of it, I'm just gonna show. I should have technically shown the 1 lap here and then the 2 laps at the near end, but I did 2 laps at the front and then 1 lap at the end. So, but once you basically see it, you'll basically just see the reason. Oh yeah, this is why C1 Corvette is this high on that rank list to me, because it's that good. It's beating the Viper already, and that's at lean 5, by the way. When I kick it to high gear, it jumps. But yeah, 416.4 is not bad for a lean 5. I mean, I guess I should have technically tuned the car to appropriate that, but yeah, is what it is. And I still want the most sprint performance out of it. Because that's the whole point of doing the time trial. You want the sprint of the car, you don't want the endurance of the car. And such. When it comes to tryouts and stuff, which is why I try to aim for. If I have to do a little bit of endurance, I will for the fuel reasons, but that's the only reason I'm going to do that. Other than that, this car is definitely pretty good for the 700 pp tournament that I usually do for funds. So, but might do that later. I don't know. Think about it. But yeah, that's basically the C1 Corvette. And as we hit to the near end here, I'll show you basically the last lap. But yeah, heck, on the last lap I did 410.6, which is very impressive. I'm not gonna lie there. That's not super crazy. It's not like, you know, less than 4 minutes, but it's still pretty crazy though. But yeah, that's basically what I have to say about the C1 Corvette, you know, today, which, yeah, it's a little monster. Little sports car monster. So, and yeah, how bad destroys a Shelby, that just tells me, yeah, and I think I put Shelby at B or A, so yeah, in comparison, Corvette technically is an S to me for right now. For as it stands and such. Yeah, it's just kind of funny. It's like I'm just driving away once again at not full lane now, because this is full performance now for the C1 Corvette. Just seeing how far back, and even the Hurricane can't even keep up with me. This funny part. Yeah, just showing all the other fonts and stuff and such. But until then, people, I hope you enjoyed what you watch here, and hope you enjoyed the rest of this at the end of the day. So, see you guys next time. You guys take care, and thanks for watching. Ciao. Oh, so it was 4.10.9. God dang it.